Welcome to a short video looking at the Consumer Price Index. We're going to take a look at a worked example of a weighted Consumer Price Index and update you on some of the details on the UK Consumer Price Index, and in particular the movement of different goods and services into and out of the inflation calculation. So the Consumer Price Index is the main measure of inflation in the UK. And in 2019, the UK economy had inflation of 1.7%. That's below the 2% target. Notice in 2015, we came quite close to experiencing a year of price deflation. Inflation in that year was less than 0.5%. Updating, the CPI index measures the cost of living in the UK, and the 12-month year-on-year inflation rate was 1.8% in January 2020. That was up from 1.3% in the last month of 2019. Let's take a look at how you calculate a weighted index. This oftentimes appears on data response or multiple choice short answer questions. I'll take a simple example where we have 4 items in the index: clothing and footwear, transport, food and drink, and communication. Now we assign a weighting to each of those items, and the weighting is there to reflect the percentage of spending, typical household spending, on each particular category. So, for example, in this case, I've made food and drink my most heavily weighted item, followed by clothing and footwear. The weightings normally, well, nearly always add up to 100 or 1,000 to make your calculations easier. Then we get some data on the price index. Well, we first of all have to choose a base year. So let me select 2018 as the base year. And of course, the index number for any base year calculation is always 100. Then we look to see what's happened to prices in the following year, in 2019. Let me put that data in for you. You can see there's been some deflation in the price of communication. Maybe a mobile phone or broadband prices came down, but there's been quite a significant increase in prices in transport, perhaps an increase in fuel prices or airfares, for example. But the price index varies across categories, and of course we're going to weight each category to get to the overall consumer price index. So what do? Well, we simply multiply the price index for 2019 for each category, multiply it by its weighting. I've done the maths for you. Multiply each item, the price index, multiplied by the weighting, you get those figures. We then sum those, comes up to 102,000. If my maths is correct, I'm sure somebody will tell me if it isn't. 102,000 is the total sum. Divide then by the sum of the weights. In this case, it's 1,000. Oftentimes in an exam, it could be 100, but you divide by the sum of the weights. So it's 102,000 divided by 1,000. It gives a price index for 2019 of 102, and that suggests, of course, that overall, the rate of inflation in that year, the year-on-year increase in prices, was 2%. Food and drink prices rose by 2%. None of the other items did, but of course we're weighting according to their relative importance in spending. Here are the latest weightings that I have for the UK Consumer Price Index as a percentage. And I've put in red here some of the significant ones. So housing and household services have a nearly 30% weighting in the index. Things like electricity and gas bills and all that kind of stuff are really quite significant. Transport is important there, so things like fuel prices, airfares, bus fares, rail fares, etc. Recreation and culture, from tickets to your sporting events to your broadband subscriptions, that kind of stuff. Food, actually, in the UK, food and non-alcoholic beverages accounts for only 8% of the Consumer Price Index in 2019. As a relatively high-income country, you'd expect that figure to be fairly low because of the high income elasticity of demand for other items in the index. Add in alcohol and tobacco, the food and alcohol and tobacco weighting is just a shade over 11%. So those are the weightings. Each year, the ONS, the Office for National Statistics, they make adjustments to the different types of goods and services that appear in the index. So taking 2019 as an example, they included for the first time popcorn. I'm eating a lot of that recently. Flavoured tea, definitely. Smart speakers. Many of us have an Alexa in our bathroom, our kitchen, or our living room. For the first time, they included washing liquid gels, A big surge of demand for sugar-free cola after the sugar tax, and dog treats. I'm not eating as many of those as I used to, if truth be told. Taken out of the index, dry dog food. Dog treats replacing dry dog food. Washing powder taken out of the index, as many more people now use those kind of 3-in-1 gels. Envelopes taken out. Yeah, people are writing fewer letters. And 3-piece non-leather sweets taken out, which I think is a game changer. So each year they take out and include certain items in the index to try to better reflect the changing spending patterns of households in the UK. However, it's really important as part of your evaluation to be aware of some of the limitations of the Consumer Price Index. This is not an exhaustive list. I'm sure you can find even better summaries of limitations. Let me pick out a few for you. First of all, the CPI basket, the Consumer Price Index basket that measures inflation, is not fully representative of all consumers. It's bound to be inaccurate for non-typical households. It's designed to try and capture changes in the cost of living, if you like, from a representative household. But if you don't have a car, for example, the CPI has a fairly relatively high weighting on car use and car ownership. Single people, young and old people living on their own, will spend differently from those people with lots of children. So there are obviously not errors, but there are problems in terms of trying to capture the inflation rate for particular people. Pensioners compared to students, big households compared to people living on their own. And of course, there are also going to be quite big regional differences in the cost of living. The second point is that there are always going to be errors and inaccuracies in data. We sample prices. A huge number of prices are sampled every year. There's bound to be some sample errors. I don't think that's fundamental, however. This third point is important. Many of the services we now consume in the digital economy don't necessarily have a market price. Your Google search, your Instagram posts, your Facebook profiles, your LinkedIn work. There's a lot of the goods and services in the digital economy don't necessarily have a market price, therefore not picked up by the inflation data. Over time, the quality of goods and services can change. It could be that your washing machine or your fridge or your GoPro camera becomes better over time, and the hedonistic utility and satisfaction you get from consuming these things isn't necessarily reflected in the prices that we pay. There's also a time lag issue. The CPI, the Consumer Price Index, is fairly slow to respond to new products that appear in markets. Whatever it is, from those protein sports bars to those low calorie energy drinks to the vegan meals that we see all the time, the CPI basket is relatively slow to change, and therefore the inflation rate that's published is highly unlikely to reflect your particular circumstances. So there we go. Hopefully a useful and helpful quick guide to the Consumer Price Index. Thank you.